Good afternoon. Afternoon all. Excuse me, make sure I'm coming through okay. Yep. How we doing? Yosafat, Paul, how you doing, pal? Nick, as always. Paul, Nick, as always, how you doing? Morning, I missed the last few sessions. What happened to your GN trade? The GN trade was the only one I've won this month, so it was a winner, but it came back down and it got stopped out for, I think, 0.8R, something like that. Ahmed, how you doing, pal? Hope everybody's well, and got better bloody weather than us, let me tell you. It's so hot here in the UAE. I went outside to empty the bins, and my glasses steamed up. It's like 45 degrees. I think normally my plan is to go to Europe for 6 months. See, benefits of trading. But because of COVID and setting up the business and everything, I haven't done that this year. I think we'll do it next year. It's just so hot. Tian, how you doing, pal? You okay? Thanks, Paul. Oh yeah, if you haven't seen it, I put a new video out yesterday on fake outs. Sean, how you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. Not seeing you here. Hope you are well. I put a new video on YouTube the other day. Ahmed, are you in Dubai, by the way? I don't know if you're in UAE. On fake outs. I think if you've been watching me a lot, you'll probably know that. But starting to get a little bit better with this editing software as I go along. I think. I don't know. Maybe you'll know otherwise, or you'll think otherwise. But yeah, so I put that out yesterday, and go have a watch it if you want. Let me just get my pen up, and we'll get into the markets, shall we? Sharjah, oh god, yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's just so hot. And yeah, so I think next year for me, I'm probably going to be off to Spain for 6 months. Get out of this heat. Come back in September. So SPX this morning, by the way, I've started a new $200,000 FTMO funded. It beat me last month. I lost the battle, but you know, I'll win the war. And again, you're just bound by those 30 days. So if it costs me $2.5 grand to get $200,000 in funded equity, then so be it. Remember, you get that money back at the end of the day. So I'm starting a new one. I always enjoy starting a new one. It's always fresh. For those of you that are new, I've done these challenges twice, not live on YouTube, but you know, one on my website, and I've received $200,000 in funded equity. So this 200 grand, which is quite new to FTMO, is actually will bump me up to 400,000. So I always get excited when I start these challenges, because going from 200 to 400 obviously is amazing. MJ, how you doing, pal? Good to see some new people in the room. And thank you for subscribing, by the way. A few new subscribers. Okay, markets. Enough of that. Let's go into markets. So the SPX today. I did say last week that I didn't really like this, right? I didn't like this push through the levels. However, in saying that, at the end on Friday, we got a decent push on this level. Now, I have to say that I'm not really confident in it, certainly on this 4-hour chart. What I would prefer to happen now is probably a retracement back to this level, like a proper little corrective back to this area. Again, let that 20 catch up and movement to the upside, in my personal opinion. However, in saying that, we've had obviously, I think it's 30 days, about a month of price action like this. And the daily chart looks a little bit better. You know, we've had this bullish engulfer again, a little bit of volume pushing on. The daily is not really extended. It could, you know, it could move. I think if we get a decent bar either today or tomorrow, like a proper bullish bar, something like this, obviously something like this, then it would look good for upward movement. I just worry about this 4-hour chart. And I think this 4-hour chart is probably the worst it looks. On the 30-minute, on the 1 hour, looks quite good. It's certainly better than last week, but I just need to see something a little bit more for me to be a bit more comfortable in it. And today's a Monday. You know, Mondays are usually quite quiet, setting up for the week ahead. Not many fundamental drivers. And if we do get something like this, some sort of corrective, then I would like it a little bit more, to be honest with you. But we have to say, you know, we've broken through all-time highs. We've not completely faked out. We had a slight retest here on the smaller time frames of these all-time highs, potentially old resistance becoming new support. So you've got to go risk on. But I've just gone risk on with caution. just because I'm wary of a slight corrective coming in, possibly today or tomorrow, but it looks okay. I have to say it looks okay on the indexes for upward movement. Now the dollar, for those of you that are new, by the way, what I normally do on these streams, I stream now Monday, Wednesday, Friday, is I'll look through the index to determine the risk sentiment. And again, this is for new people here. So determining whether it's risk on or risk off. If it's risk on, obviously stocks are pushing. Investors are confident. They're looking to buy those probably commodity currencies such as your Aussie, your Kiwi, and your CAD. If it's risk off, stocks are falling. Investors are a bit wary, possibly COVID news, possibly inflation news that we've had recently. And you'd expect that strength to come into the Swiss and the yen. Now, recently, or post-COVID, the US dollar has been acting as that safe haven asset as well, as that probably flight to cash. So when stocks fall, what do people have to do to sell stocks? They've got to buy US dollar. The US dollar then indeed strengthens because of that, which wasn't the case pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, stocks rise, the US dollar would rise. And maybe times are changing. Maybe we're getting back to that old kind of norm with this US dollar strength. COVID is hopefully, touch wood, kind of beginning of the end, right? I got my vaccine jab. I think a lot of people have. Cases are starting to kind of fall. And maybe we get back to that kind of old thing where US dollar strengthens as the stocks rise. So the US dollar is still in. You've kind of got to look at this on a daily chart. Personally, we've had that decent push and we're just in a corrective now. We've got to let that 20 period catch up, possibly retesting this downtrend anchor and for continuation to the upside. Now, I'm not saying that US dollar weakness, I'm just saying that it's in corrective. So with the US dollar setups, it's still strong. You've got to say it's still strong because we've gone from this big push. But my bias here is we come back to this area and then we continue to the upside. That's what you've got to say as a technical analyst. We have to say that this trend has now changed. And I think we get up to roughly around this area at some point, probably next week, the week afterwards. And then it'll be decision time because, we failed at that area before. However, with that failure, it came from a large drop. So at that point in time, it looked like a kind of really bigger corrective. However, it's a little bit different now with this push. So US dollar, I think we come correct back to this area and we push on in my personal view. How's everybody's trading, by the way? Is anybody making money? I hope you are. But if you look at the 4 hour, again, we've had this, this bearish engulfer on the 4 hour. I just think we come down a little bit and then we continue to rise in the personal, from my personal, my personal opinion. June has been terrible, yeah. June has been my worst month. I think I've said this multiple times. You guys know it again. It's been my worst month in a long time. I just think it's been horrible. It's just been horrible. But that is the game we're in. That's we have one good month. You have 2-3 good trades. You're back at it. The main thing I always say is make sure you don't lose your discipline. And that's the biggest thing. Like Paul, I presume you might have been in the markets for quite some time. Nick, I know Ahmed's probably, Tian, all you guys are probably in the markets for quite some time. You're not smarter than anybody. You're not smarter. No one else is smarter than you probably in terms of your trading strategy, right? The thing that's going to separate you is that psychology. So making sure you're not over risking, you're not over trading, all that kind of stuff. And, I think a lot of traders don't really believe in themselves enough. In that you're good enough. For example, the guy who won the 50 grand last month, David, he's good enough. Like, he's a good enough trader, but he just doesn't believe it because he has those months where he's down a little bit. And that's what it all comes down to. It all comes down to psychology and, having a bit of belief in yourselves. But this month I felt like so did I. Paul, I felt like I didn't know what was going on. And again, that little voice inside your head says, go back and add something to your strategy, go and, do this, and, well, maybe this doesn't work, right? But, when you have the good months, like I did last month and 2 months ago, that, that's not there. It's just in these kind of bad months, and it's I suppose, making sure you're not getting cocky in that you can win everything, everything you want. 19.5% up. Bloody hell, Tian. Really? 19.5. That's amazing. What strategy are you using? Sorry, I'm going kind of go off on a tangent. I'll keep going through, but let me know what strategy you're using, Tian. Okay, so I was looking at this CAD Swiss as a breakout retest. Now, it's kind of fallen off a little bit, indicative of a Monday market. We had a nice cut with handle, push through the area. I think this kind of big volatility on market open has kind of made it a little bit messy on this retest. So I think, remember, I scanned the markets about 9 a.m. UAE time, so a few hours ago. But I think this has become a little bit messy here, and we've kind of got to let it go on CAD Swiss. Euro Swiss. Euro Swiss looks better. Now, the euro hasn't been kind, and the euro does definitely like a fake out, but this is a nice setup here, right? Certainly with higher time frame context. You know, the 4 hour here looks good. We've had, you know, this kind of loss of momentum here, harder reset, not an ABC reset yet. It could turn into that. It could turn into that. However, with this, with this push that we've had, go away. With this push that we've had on the 4 hour, looks quite strong. You know, key level here is here. I mean, you could, if you look at it this way, you could call that an ABC, potentially. However, the corrective is nice and we're pushing on through. Stocks pushing up. You'd expect Swiss to weaken off a little bit. So now with this Euro Swiss, looking for a retest, which should coincide with that 20 period, with that 200, with that resistance area to move to the upside. We do have slight resistance here, but again, the setup on this section here is good enough for me to take that long with the context. You know, daily chart looks nice. Push up, a couple of days here correcting. We're getting potentially a good bullish bar on the daily. That looks nice to me. That looks nice. You know, we take it out from here, possibly getting into a bigger V reversal. Yeah. Swiss yen. Euro Swiss I like. I just need that retest and the catalyst in order for me to go long. Euro USD shorts. Euro USD, I'm looking at this 1 hour chart. Yeah, Tian, let me know what strategy you employ, because, you know, and what risk percentage you are, because 19.5, I mean, the best month I've ever had, I would consider when I've been profitable, was 22%. Right, 22.5, I think it was my best month. But 19.5 is excellent. As long as you're risking the right amount. This is important, because you get a lot of people online that might say, oh, I make 5% a week, or I aim for 15% a week. And in the great months, that's great. But you also have to think about the other side of that, right? So if they're making, and this is not directed at you, Tian, at all, because I know that you've got a good little bit of knowledge behind you, is that can be lost as well. So capital protection, if they're aiming for 5% a week, they're probably going to be losing 5, 10, 20% a month, 20, 30% a month. And if you can handle that, great. But if you can't, personally, I don't think I could handle that. That's the other flip side of the coin that, on those kind of bigger gains. But if you had a 19.5 legitimately, well done, mate. Well done. So V reversal, we've here, I think I need this now to become a complex, to potentially break to the downside, to retest, to go short. We did expect a reaction here. It looks a little bit climactic to me, right? So if you look at this, break through this area, and if we drill down here, every 5 minute, you've kind of got that massive bar that is completely fake. Now the euro loves to do this. The euro loves a fake out. Right, and that's what my personal fake out strategy is going to be geared towards now, is selling that euro. But with how it is, excuse me, I'm mixed up with my charts here. But with how it is now, I do, in terms of this V reversal setup, need a complex now. So I need either an AB shallow C, possibly an AB normal C to come down, retest to go short. I don't think this sustains. I don't think euro Euro pressure to the upside sustains, to be honest with you. Again, I think this is too climactic, and with the characteristics of Euro that I've been building up a little bit more, I think this falls down. Now, if we don't get a complex and we come down here, it's okay to have another reload, because that turns into a V reversal followed by a head and shoulders, right? So that's okay. And with the expected dollar strength coming in at some point a little bit soon, I like that Euro USD to the downside. Context is good. 4 hour digesting this move, it's enough there for me to continue down. We've got this slight engulfer here on the 4 hour, but again, you drill it down and you see this and you think, maybe I don't trust it. Maybe I don't trust that. So Euro USD looking shorts, and again, that looks all right. New Zealand Swiss has faked. Looking at it now, I didn't want that to happen. A nice little fake out on a Monday. Where's the stops? Probably here, probably here, probably here. Do I think this is coming back up? Absolutely. That stop hunt is done. Thank you for your money, those brokers say, and I'll move on and push this pair to the upside. If we get that, it might be something I'll look at in the coming days, considering that fake out is finished, or I would consider that fake out finished, for a potential move to the upside on New Zealand Swiss. Really just pattern order block, trying to keep the chart as naturale as possible. Was in at 3% risk, then got a great run, increased, scaled in, okay. Waited, wanted to close, but didn't. Something told me not to. 2 hours later, I got gold to go bananas and got, wow, 8.5 to 1 R. I mean, there you go. Like in one trade, like that, it makes such a difference. Like one little trade or two little big trades, that can make your whole year. If you live around the break-even point and wait for those, which kind of what I do. I mean, it's not quite. I like to have, normally like to win more trades and kind of build up that equity. But you do get those months where one or two trades just go bang and you make a hell of a lot of money. And I think that's where a lot of edge, my kind of edge comes from. I had a euro pound the other, 2 months ago, I think, that got me about 4 or 5 R. And, you add those all up at the end of the year, you get a massive edge because of it. Good. Well done, Tian. I'm happy for you. Well done. Okay, finally, USD ZAR. I think USD ZAR has moved on a little bit. Pushing up. I think I was looking at the setup. I did really like this. Now, as a context, this is great. I know we've had a little bit of a gap here, but you've kind of got your squeeze into the level. And look at this, right? This is just perfect, right? If that was on a 4 hour chart, I'd take that breakout all day, because that is exactly what I want. And look at the lowering volume as you come. Look at the higher volume as you look to break through. That is just perfect, and that's what I talked about in my video the other day. Looking for that 20 period, looking for that accumulation. If that accumulation comes in a form of a corrective like this, and if you put a line here, we can see that squeeze into the level. And it's like an elastic band, and it just breaks off and snaps to the upside. I think that's probably too far gone for a retest, but it's a good use of context, right? It's a good thing to learn from that. That as a 4 hour chart trade for me personally. Again, this is just, I'm just trying to help you guys learn how to trade your own way. If you can learn anything from me and how I do it, then perfect. But that is just great. The only issue here obviously is that 200. But as context here, really nice. I think USD ZAR is probably gone. Maybe we get it on the 1 hour chart on a retest. Doesn't look as extended there, but the whole context of this is great. Again, I always look at higher time frame context. We had this good push on. Come on, pen. Excuse me. Good push on. That move just looks digested, right? And I'll show you this because I was looking at this on my morning stream on the website. So look at the difference between UZAR on this 4 hour chart, right? So we see the difference here from the push and the corrective, right? Looks digested, right? Probably around that 40-60 box. Then let's compare this to something I was looking at on USD Swiss. On USD Swiss 4 hours. So look at the difference here, right? Big push up. That corrective for me just doesn't seem digested enough. That doesn't mean it can go on. It can't go on. Of course it can. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. But just if you look at the difference between that and USAR, I think just by looking at it, you can probably tell. And this USD Swiss, by the way, how similar does it look to the US dollar index, right? So I was looking at this morning on account of this V reversal corrective push through. I just wasn't confident enough in it. I didn't like where the 4 hour was. But again, if you look at that difference in terms of the breakout retest, right, you've kind of got a bit of failing. Okay, bullish bar here, but it's not as sustained as USD ZAR, right? It's not as nice of a break, and that just shows you how important the context is about waiting to find those pairs that are just ready to move, rather than the ones that you think, okay, may not be ready, it might need a bit more digestive time. 3 hours work, yeah, no, that's the great. I mean, this is why I love it, because maybe not this year because of COVID, but next year will be my first year when I get away from Dubai for summer, and that's when the benefits of trading really come in. Because, like you said, it's, you know, I could look at the markets in the morning for half an hour, and that's me done, right? Go and check it 1 or 2 hours a day, blah blah blah, easy, and that's me done, and I make more money than I used to make in my full-time job. Certainly, if you keep building up that funded equity. Now, again, there are limitations of funded equity. I always try and put a little bit more into a trading account, build that up as well. But it's just, as a lifestyle, when you get there, it's awesome. Like, it's just awesome. I love it. Going full time. Oh, well done. Going full time in October 21. Good, excellent. Well done to you. Well done. I wish you all the best, mate. I wish you all the best. October. So are you going to do any of these funded equities, or are you building up that kind of account, your personal account to trade off of? And finally here today, AUD, NZD. Looking at funded talent, yeah. So if I pass this one, I'll have the max that I can. So I can only get 400 grand on FTMO. I think there's two others. Well, there's one main other Top Step FX that are supposed to be good, and someone told me about 5%ers. I'm sure 5%ers was another one. Yeah, but my goal, Tian, is $1 million in funded equity by Christmas next year. That's my goal. And Blue FX. Have a look at Blue FX. Yeah, it's just the trustworthiness. I trust FTMO, and I've never done it with anybody else. But when I was looking at reviews, this Top Step FX seemed to be the best out of the rest, really. But yeah, that's my personal goal: $1 million funded equity by Christmas next year, and that for me would just be lovely. Anyway, finally, AUD NZD V reversal. It's starting to show us something now. Audacity, yeah, sorry, Audacity was another one that is good. Yeah, Audacity. But this is what the thing is. There's no limitations. This is the great thing about trading. There's no limitations to the amount of funded equity you can get. And as soon as you learn how to trade, the world just fucking opens up. Right? Imagine having that. Okay, let's go 400k. Right? Okay, I had a bad month this month, but let's take that last month for example. I made 11% last month. So on 400,000, where's my calculator? So on 400,000, right, I make 11%. So times 1.1. 40, is that right? 40 grand? No, it's not 40 grand. It's 44,000, right? 11%. So you take home $30,000, 800 bucks. 44k, yeah. So they take 30%, so you take home 30 grand. I mean, there you go. And if you can do it on 1,000, you can do it on 400,000. That's the good thing about trading, and that's why I always recommend everyone, fuck $1,000 in a trading account. Why? Get these funded accounts, and then off you pop, and live a great life. Like, go and enjoy yourself, and instead of sitting at an office that you don't like, and it just gives you that freedom to do. Yeah, exactly. It's just simplicity. I know I've had a bad month this month, but that's fine. At the end of the year, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, probably, you get that back, and you outperform those traditional investments, you know, those traditional assets, portfolio stocks, you'll outperform them. And that's what we're trying to do. Anyway, sorry, I keep going off on a tangent here, but hopefully that kind of gives you some motivation. So AUD NZD, we've got a V reversal. Looks to be like a decent reaction here off the 200. Need that to come up, reload, and I would take that long all day. So AUD NZD. Remember, it is a Monday. Mondays are slightly choppy. No real fundamental drivers. I think I did really like USAR, but it may go. So I think I'll keep looking at USAR. What else? CAD Swiss. I think CAD Swiss failed, right? Just kind of going back over everything. CAD Swiss is a bit messy. Don't really like it anymore. Euro USD I like. Euro Swiss, sorry. So Euro Swiss is probably the poster boy for today. If we can get a retest here, to go long, you know, I'm quite happy with that. And that's it. Remember, guys, I'm only live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right now. I've got a lot of work on with the website, and yeah. So thank you for the new guys watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm here at the same time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and hopefully this time we're past this bloody account. That would be nice, wouldn't it? So for me personally, I'm always excited to go from 200 to 400. I mean, that would be bloody awesome. So let's see. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I think we had the most people in the room that I've ever had. And for me, that's great. As a new kind of YouTuber, appreciate you being here. Hopefully you like it. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday, right? Take care. Trade safe. Peace.